What you'll see on your screen now is Andy Margin Boo Ruiz and Anthony the Landlord Joshua doing a side-by-side open workout. And before I go in and kind of narrate over the top, I gotta say a big shout out to my dog Pato B for coming through and supporting your boy, maxing out on the Patreon. Anyone else who would like to support your boy, sponsor your boy the YB, and receive daily exclusive Patreon only content, come through www.patreon.com/theyb. Anyway, cutting to it then. So, what do we take from this? I've got to be honest. Initially, I watched the open workout footage, and in fact, in general, I don't really do open workout reactions because, listen, it is what it is. Who knows? You can't really read much into it. And actually, as you all know by now, I'm an AJ fan, and AJ's really kept it undercover. We didn't see squat. In fact, all we did see was a very light shadow boxing. Nothing else whatsoever. So that tells me that they've got a coy little plan. Everything, you've got to bear in mind as well. In fact, I'm just thinking back. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've seen AJ be so minimalistic. He literally did no more than like 4 or 5 minutes. Normally, he puts his pads on and McCracken goes out there. And the reason I know this is because I've critiqued McCracken quite a few times with his pad work with AJ in the open workouts for being too, like, it's one shot at a time, you don't see many combinations, etc, etc. However, for whatever reason, they've decided to keep it all under wraps, and it really adds to the mystery. I've got to be honest, all of you know by now. In fact, the whole of boxing who's been following this event will know now there's two kind of schools of thoughts of what AJ's going to do. Some people are saying he should try and become Tyson Fury. Other people are saying he's going to have to get respect from Ruiz early and essentially beat Ruiz at his own game. What we do know, or what we don't know now is, or basically we're none, after seeing the open workout, we are certainly none closer to actually understanding what's going to be going on December 7th. And for me, it just adds to more to the mystery of it. I've heard so many things over these last few days, in as much as you've got Rob McCracken saying, yeah, I'm not really bothered about how we win, let's just try and get a points decision. You've got AJ saying, I'm going back to instincts, I've been doing more boxing, etc, etc. So I'm really... And listen, they could have potentially cleared up some questions in this little open workout thing, but they've done this for a reason. I think they're cooking up something. They've been cooking something. Whatever they've been doing, clearly they don't intend on revealing it, which ultimately implies to me they've really got something special. Because if you didn't feel you had something special, you'd just let it all hang out. Now, moving on to Margin Boo, Andy Ruiz, I've got to be honest. Listen. He was not as minimalistic as AJ, however, it's worked to his benefit. I'm an AJ fan, obviously, but I've got to be honest. This Andy Ruiz looks sharp as ever. Now, he hasn't lost any weight, which I actually believe would have been a benefit. You've got some weird people who don't understand physiology, who say, oh, no, Andy, just because, Andy Ruiz did well being this fat, so he shouldn't change. Listen, what people don't appreciate is, you can win a fight, or you can perform well being overweight. However, in actual absolute terms, Andy Ruiz, whilst he's this fat, whilst he's carrying 20, 25, 30 pounds of extra weight, he will never be his potential. He will always be 20%. So however good he looks tonight, or however good or doesn't good he looks on December 7th, he could be an extra 20% on top of that, in my opinion. Because imagine, there's been research done. There's a UFC coach called Firas Zahabi, I think, is GSP's coach, and basically GSP is one of the all-time greats, and he's actually quite a very cerebral man, and he said the same thing. He said, listen, there's no reason to be carrying that much weight, and not only that, the actual research is saying now, when you get rid of dead weight, fat is not propulsive. When fighters lose dead weight, it actually increases their power, because it's that power, it's all to do with the power to weight ratio, yeah? When you carry fat, it, number one, slows you down, and number two, it messes your power to weight ratio up, because it doesn't help you generate any more force. And imagine, we already know Andy Ruiz has got quick hands. Imagine how much quicker they'd be if he didn't have bingo wings. Look at his feet. His feet are noticeably slow. Imagine how quicker they'd be if he wasn't carrying 30 pounds. You put it on. You put on a 20-pound weight jacket. Because I used to train with weight jackets, a 5-pound weight jacket. A 5 kilo weight jacket. And trust me, 5 kilo, you know about it. It's literally extreme. I'm an 80-pound man, so sorry, an 80 kilo man. So if I add another 10% of my body weight, 8 kilos, I notice it. In fact, it's very hard, meaning that Andy Ruiz has got at least 10%. Imagine how much quicker he'd be, and how much more imagine how much more cardio he'd have, and the power. But anyway, he's chosen for whatever reason, and it's actually gone to show. Andy Ruiz has obviously failed in the discipline department. Your boy the YB did call this, by the way. I said, listen, your boy Andy Ruiz he's one of them bubbly, chubby chicks. Certain chubby chicks, they can't lose weight. It's the way they are. They just, number one, not disciplined enough, and number two, yeah, he's probably got some bad genetics, but ultimately, he hasn't got the discipline. He loves food too much. It's one of them ones there, one of them big chicks, man. Some big chicks love food. Simple as that. It's not even just chicks, to be fair. There's some big men as well who love food. But Andy Ruiz is one of them cats. He was talking about 6 months ago when he was on the winning high. He was talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And when it came to it, he failed, which tells me he has not been as disciplined as he planned to be. Will that pay off or will that become evident in the fight? We're going to find out. One thing we do know is, though, AJ has been studious in this camp. Anyway, going back to the Andy Ruiz part, because the reason I'm spending this video speaking so much about Ruiz is simply because he actually revealed, in my opinion, quite a bit. And I've got to be honest, it's positive. Apart from the only thing at the moment, which is a big... Well, it's not going to be a detriment. The fact he hasn't lost weight isn't a detriment, but I've been saying myself, I want to see the best fight. I want to see the best AJ and the best Ruiz turn up. I reckon we're going to get the best AJ. I'm not so sure about the best Ruiz, just based on the fact that he hasn't stuck to what he planned to do. He told us 6 months ago he was losing weight. He didn't do it. So I'm sitting there thinking, what else hasn't he done that he said he was going to do? We know he was in the Rolls Royce shop, buying this, buying that. We know he's in the jewellery shop, buying this, buying that. And let's get it right, by the way. This wouldn't be the first time a fighter's gone Hollywood and ended up not delivering. This happened. This is, in fact, the age-old saying of people going Hollywood. They go Hollywood and then it's all over. They're never the same again. Buster Douglas kind of style. It's been the age-old thing. People on the way up, they're grinding, they're poor, they make it, and it all falls apart. But I think no matter what happens, Ruiz will always give his all, but it's whether or not his all is enough to beat AJ's all. And for me, not losing the weight, it puts him on the back foot. But anyway, from what we've seen here, very, very good work from Andy Ruiz. His chin's noticeable, even though Andy Ruiz already had a low chin, but I noticed on this open workout, he's very tight. He mentioned when he got knocked down by AJ that one of the reasons he got caught was because he was too long and whatnot. Now, those of you who follow the channel will know that I'm a massive fan of keeping your chin as close to your chest as possible, just based on pure probability. The lower your chin is, the less likely it is to get chipped. The less surface, the less area it's occupying. Simple as that. And yeah, and Andy Ruiz in this footage, his shoulders are somewhat high, and he's got it all tucked in, looked very tight, and also his hand speed. Once again, it's not a surprise to see Andy Ruiz having quick hands, but he hasn't got slower. It looked very fluid. He looked on it, and that's going to be. I've said, those of you who follow the channel, you know that I'm not one of them people who wants AJ to win by all means, meaning that I don't want AJ to win because Ruiz went Hollywood, or I don't want AJ to win because Ruiz hasn't been training. So to see Ruiz on his A game, that tells me that this is going to be a good fight. Certainly he hasn't got worse, but then again, what do we know? We don't know. We're not going to find out whether or not he's been going through it in the gym. Doing some pad work is a million miles different to when you've got a genetic phenomenon in front of you in AJ. And also cardio, whether he's been working in the gym or not is going to become evident in 2 days. All we can take from this is he certainly doesn't look like he's deteriorated. He looks sharper, in my opinion, from the little bits we've seen here. AJ, on the other hand, he didn't show a squat, which just adds to the whole mystery. What are we going to get? What have they been cooking up? What don't they want to show us? And I think potentially AJ's done it to kind of... It does, I'm sorry, it adds to the mystery of it all. It really, especially when it's a changed behaviour. AJ normally puts his gloves on, bangs the pads, and gets his fans titillated. Gets everyone on the edge of their seats, ready to see that transformed into the actual competition ring. But now, even the shadow boxing was very easy and just relaxed. Now, so I'm, as an AJ fan, I just can't wait to see how this one goes. I really can't. Both men look on it. They both look on it, and they're both, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Anyway, that's the end of that. I can't wait for this. This fight's the most exciting fight in the last. People talk about. Eddie Hearn said, "Oh, it's Lennox Lewis versus Tyson." I'm sorry, man. Maybe I wasn't around then. To be fair, I was what? In fact, I would have been 9 years old then, so I would have been quite relatively old. But I don't remember. I actually don't remember that at all. But either way, I don't know, man. But maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's a recency bias. I feel this fight is bigger, and I'll tell you why. Because Tyson, 2001 or 2003, whenever it was, that period, Tyson was 10 years done. Do you understand? It wasn't like this fight here. We have two men at the tippity top of their athletic prime. Their age is prime, yeah? Their mindsets are prime. You've got Andy Ruiz, a new champion, with the Mexican kind of fans behind him. You've got AJ, Nigerian, UK fans behind him, just coming off a loss. AJ isn't like a guy who's had 5 losses before and you're kind of thinking, well, he's lost before and he's proven he can lose again. We don't know. AJ hasn't proven he's going to lose again. Do you know what I mean? This is it now. How you come back from your first loss really sets your whole career. It sets the precedent. What kind of fighter are you going to be? Yeah? Because one thing for sure, if Ruiz beats AJ, he's going to struggle to go down as an all-time great, because when someone's got your number, although actually other fighters have done it, however, in my opinion, Ruiz isn't that great. Much less a 260-pound Ruiz or 270-pound Ruiz who's carrying 30 pounds of dead fat weight. He's not all that. And even AJ himself's admitted it. The other day, I'm going to do a video on this. AJ said in his BBC interview, he said, listen, all respect to Ruiz, but I just don't, Ruiz shouldn't be beating me twice. And you got that damn right, AJ. I'm glad me and you are on the same wavelength. That kind of caliber should not be beating you twice. Now, I don't even rate Wilder, but let's say at least Wilder takes his stuff serious in as much as he's an athlete. And maybe we're going to find out over time, if Wilder does dare step up, that Wilder's right hand really is world class. Let's say if Wilder knocks out AJ, Ruiz, Dillian White, and maybe Daniel Dubois, I will put my hands in the air and say this man really has the all-time great right hand. And the reason I bring it up is to say that if AJ gets knocked out by Deontay Wilder twice, that's a bit different, because you can say, well, that man there has got all-time great power. Ruiz hasn't really demonstrated that. I've been going through his resume. He went 12 rounds with Kingpin Johnson. He went 12 rounds with loads of different people who you shouldn't be going 12 rounds with. See what I mean? And even the Dimitrenko fight 6 months ago, he's got very blunt hands, and I think that's what Andy Ruiz is going to notice in this fight, I think a lot of Andy Ruiz fans and a lot of AJ haters are going to be shocked at what happens this time, when AJ isn't a clone. AJ already hinted as well in the last few days that there was something wrong on June 1st. And he said, oh yeah, I might write a book on it, or I might tell you in one of my videos in the future. So he's already admitted there was something wrong. And I think people are going to be shocked at, because even my dad's saying, oh yeah, AJ, I'm not sure he can take a shot. And I think, yeah, all I'm saying is, I think people are going to be shocked to see shots start bouncing off. Yeah, in December 7th, Ruiz is going to throw shots, and them same shots that had AJ in trouble last time, AJ's going to smile and march forward. And that's going to, all of you Ruiz and AJ haters, you best check your jogging bottoms, because they're going to be sodden. You're going to be like, oops, all your hype, all your dodgy bets you've been putting on are going to go down the drain. He's going to hit him, and he's going to bounce off, and he's going to march forward. In fact, it might not even bounce off his head. I'll tell you what, it might not bounce off his head. It's probably going to bounce off his guard, because his guard's going to be that tight, as an example. But anyway, I say all that to say this. The bottom line is, this fight is Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Two men, height of their prime. In my opinion, AJ and Ruiz are number 1 and 2 in this world. Andy Ruiz and AJ clean out Fury, easy. Wilder is yet to know, but let's say even if you said Wilder was in front of AJ and Ruiz, that's still number 2 and 3. Therefore, this fight is number 1 and number 2. Number 1 and number 2 also are in their prime, also have everything to prove. That's why it's bigger than the Mike Tyson fight. By the time the Mike Tyson fight happened versus Lennox Lewis, both men had lost 1,000,000 times. Both men had been chinned, or both men, you know what I mean? It was a big fight, but there wasn't undefeated fighters, essentially. Now, people can say, oh, well, Andy Ruiz lost to Parker. Come on, man. Let's talk turkey. He didn't lose that fight. And the fact of the matter is, this is it now. This fight is the biggest fight in the last 40 years since Ali versus Foreman rematch. How about that? I'm not being funny. I'm trying to think. Maybe it's my bias. Maybe it's my UK bias. What fights have got this many questions being asked? Two men, wicked inside fighting. Both men have wicked inside fighting. AJ, an athletic, genetic beast. Ruiz, Majin Buu, yeah? Majin Buu, Dragon Ball Z star, yeah? They drug him off of Dragon Ball Z screen straight into the ring. How many times can you not say you've got a genetic phenomenon in the African Hercules and AJ versus a Dragon Ball Z character? How many times can you say that? You just can't. Never, in fact, never before seen. Never mind Tyson, never mind Lennox Lewis. African Hercules versus a Dragon Ball Z star.